What's quack-a-lackin' there, Guardians? My name is Pone. Welcome. We're gonna be taking a look at the Tom. Its birth name is Touch of Malice, but it really doesn't like it, so it goes with Tom instead. So, Tom here is a very confused individual. Grandma, please don't get the switch out. She sees me wasting ammo, she's gonna beat the hell out of me. So, I was very confused the first time I had this weapon. It's before people even knew the general rule of thumb with using this weapon. And I noticed it had 11 shots in the mag, but if it comes down to it, by the time I get to that final shot, I have 10 chances to hurt the enemies before I start hurting myself. The self-inflicted kind of claws of its initial perk, and that's a dangerous thing. There are hotlines for that kind of stuff. So Tom may not be much of a looker, but his personality is amazing. He dresses like a scarecrow, no fashion sense. I get it. What's going on in America right now? First we start dressing up our dogs, and now we dress up our weapons? Well, at least if it gets a reskin in the next DLC, it's just simply changing outfits. So, yeah, shitty jokes aside, this has got a very confusing perk set. The Touch of Malice. Final round of the magazine regenerates and deals bonus damage at the cost of the wielder's life force. Soft, smooth, and smart. Eye of the Storm. Weapon becomes more accurate as your health gets lower. It's got Snapshot for aiming incredibly fast. Hammerforge for more range. And Flared Magwell if you want to reload this quicker. Last but not least, we have the Touch of Mercy. 3 rapid kills will return a portion of the wielder's health. So Bungie's got this weird humor thing going on, this pattern, if you will, that they make every one of the raid exotics as poop as possible, because it makes sense. And I was really fearing for the Touch of Malice. We know that the Vex, after it was first nerfed, it was never before seen again. We're talking about the Necrochasm, which is on the side of every milk carton. I mean, these guns were just never seen. They were not functional in PvP, they were not functional in PvE, they were Vault Queens. And I was afraid the same thing was going to happen to the Touch of Malice. And Tom let me down at the start. Until I learned how to use him, he was misunderstood. And I was that guy that's like, oh god, Touch of Malice is horrible. Bungie did it again, and blah blah blah. So, what to do with this weapon in PvP? In PvP, this weapon is actually really solid, really reliable. The catch is, I would only advise people to use this in Rumble. The reason for this is this gun is one of the best guns in the game on one-on-one confrontations. If we're talking like a heads-up fight, you are going to win many gunfights with this weapon if you're using that final shot. I do recommend that you use this in semi-automatic. This gun is capable of firing in full auto, and because of that, that baits people into thinking, hey, more shots means this. But no, you're actually contributing more to your death because you're becoming more inaccurate and less reliable on hitting those precision shots. So, you're technically hurting yourself when using this thing in full auto, and I would only ever recommend doing this full auto is if the guy's literally in handshake range. And let's push past that. Again, why I said Rumble only. That is probably the best game type for you to deal with one-on-ones. You're going to have to heal after every gunfight. Sometimes with other guns, you can obviously pick a guy and, you know, shoot him in the back or whatever. You're always going to take damage from this, and you saw it right there. Was that technically a collateral? I killed 2 dudes with 1 shot, right? Yo, montage that. But that's what I'm talking about. You saw the little misadventure. I was literally the reason for my own death. That last shot took both of us out. It said misadventure. That is not an uncommon thing to see inside of Crucible. It generally is something I feel like I run into once or twice per game. That's not even counting in, or considering the amounts of times that using this gun and damaging myself has also contributed to my death. Those are just the ones where I'm the final nail in the coffin. So, this gun gets a little heated and hard to deal with in game types like Control. I would completely advise against using this in those game types because you're going to fight 2 and 3v1s in many situations without having the time to regenerate your health. Again, like I said, this is a great single target thing. If you're going heads up against another Guardian, you're going to win that gunfight. But when you get into the mix and there's a bunch of people coming at you, you're playing objective game types, larger player counts, you're really stepping on thin ice. So yes, my final recommendations is this gun's great for PvP, may not even be half bad for something like Trials. It's already got high damage, and even if you do kill yourself with this and you're getting really aggressive, you can at least still be revived. Keep that in mind. But for the most part, I would recommend you guys to stick to Rumble only. This is a Rumble gun because of the single target time. You can pace your fights and everything like that. Control, completely avoid using this. It can be done, but you're also going to die far more than you would have if you were just using any other weapon. So, PvE, how does this thing perform? This gun was clearly meant for the Oryx phase of the King's Fall raid. As you know, with that aura of immortality, you are allowed to shoot and not take damage, which means you can stay on that final shot, fire it in full auto, and blast into Oryx's midsection. It's also good on his daughters, which is really awesome, to be honest, because it's really cool to melt them in just 2 runs. So this gun has really, really good value in that, but it does not make it good for other portions of the raid. Golgroth, for example. With the massive amounts of acolytes, you got your cursed thralls, eventually the Taken, not to mention the forehead beam of death anyways, you don't want to be adding extra damage to yourself and contributing to your own death, especially during that phase where, 5 deaths equals a wipe. You know what I mean? So in higher PvE elements, we're talking about nightfalls, things where the enemies are far more dangerous and tanky than usual. You don't want to use the Touch of Malice, simply because you could use something else that's not going to be endangering yourself. In the lower count strikes, where you're dealing with small adds and thralls and acolytes and stuff like that, where you can just one-shot precision headshot them, you can actually start tapping into that Touch of Mercy one, where 3 kills regenerates some of your health. So you can kind of continuously use this gun over time. It's kind of like not having to reload sort of deal and just taking full advantage of it. But again, that really only benefits the lower level PvE strikes and the grinding and stuff like that. The higher level things where the enemies are more tankier, not a smart idea. The first half of the raid, not a smart idea. But that second half, it's incredible for Oryx himself, it's incredible for his daughters, and it was clearly built for that purpose with that aura. And that's what makes it so cool. And again, like I said, very misunderstood weapon. When you start using it properly, you're going to find success in the Crucible, you're going to find success in basic low-level strikes, and of course, against Oryx himself. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed, be sure to subscribe for future Taken King reviews, and I will catch you guys out there sometime.